Hi, my name's Carter Walker. Love talking about movies, music, games, comics, anything like that. And tonight I just rewatched Ant-Man and the Wasp, and I did a video on Ant-Man yesterday. So if you're interested in that, feel free to check it out. But I just wanted to do a quick review of Ant-Man and the Wasp before I see Quantumania tomorrow night. By the time I upload this, it'll probably be Thursday morning, so I'm seeing it tonight. But I'm pretty excited for Quantumania. I really enjoy Ant-Man as a character. I think Paul Rudd does a great job playing him in all of the movies. I think the dynamic Paul Rudd has with all of like the Ant family and the Avengers is awesome. And I'm pretty excited for Quantumania. So I just kind of want to talk about Ant-Man and the Wasp a little bit before I get started. Real fast, just a disclaimer, is for some reason my mic, I have no idea how to use it. Apparently I just shifted around too much during videos. So whenever I'm editing, I hear a ton of like feedback or like pressing against the mic, or it just sounds terrible. So if there's any of that in this video, I do apologize. I don't have a mic stand. I just like freeform it. So Ant-Man and the Wasp came out in 2018. It was directed by Peyton Reed. Again, stars Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly, and Michael Douglas. And this time it's about Ant-Man trying to get over the events of Civil War, where he went and helped Captain America. He got himself arrested. Now he's on house arrest, and Hank Pym and Hope van Dyne are on the run because their technology was used, and they didn't want to get admitted because they're trying to save their mom, Hope's mom, Janet van Dyne, from the quantum realm. So I think starting out with the positives, again, I think Paul Rudd is just incredibly likable in this role. I think the cast again does a great job. All of the Ant-Man family does well with Hank Pym and Hope van Dyne do a great job, and then of course like Louise and Dave and Kurt do a great job as well. They're always funny, they're always refreshing. But I think the cast is just really good. They're all very likable, they're all very entertaining. I think Walton Goggins as Sonny Birch, he's not the most motivating villain, but he's charismatic, he's kind of fun to watch. It's enjoyable. I think this movie is definitely, the villain is a step down from Yellow Jacket. I think that the motives, at least for Ghost, are more understandable. However, I just don't enjoy watching Ghost as much as I enjoy watching Yellow Jacket. Again, Peyton Reed and the writing team are very creative with Ghost's powers and how she uses them, how Ant-Man and Wasp use their powers. The third act in San Francisco is pretty fun with all the shrinking and growing, different items, whether it's a car, van, Scott himself, or the building. I think it does a great job of keeping it dynamic, and I think the effects hold up pretty well. I don't think they look as good as 2015 in the first Ant-Man movie, but I still think overall they're pretty decent. And again, I enjoy some of the humor in this movie. I think it's not as funny as the first Ant-Man, and not all of the jokes land as much as the actors and writers would want them to, but I think it's not as, painfully unfunny as people make it out to be. It did come after Infinity War, and so again, it was that palate cleanser, like how, Ant-Man was for Phase 2. It was kind of like a smaller step down from Infinity War and just kind of getting back into it, and doesn't have anything to do with Infinity War. It's just all by itself, at least until the post-credit scene, which I think works to its benefit. I mean, watching it tonight, I just turned it on after watching Ant-Man. I could have watched Civil War, but I've seen that movie so many times that it's pretty much engraved in my brain. I know everything that happens in that movie, so, I didn't really need to watch it as a refresher. I would have loved to, but just didn't have time. I think that this movie, works well as a sequel to Ant-Man. It continues Scott, Hope, and Hank's story in a meaningful way. A lot of the Ant family take a step down in this movie when regards to Scott's friends or his daughter or his ex-wife. I think they all take kind of a backseat, and the focus is really on Hope and Hank. This is honestly their movie. A lot of the movie focuses around them trying to get Janet back, for better or for worse. I think it's compelling. I don't think it is as fun as the first movie. I think it's got its moments, but I do definitely prefer the first movie. Getting into the mix, again, the humor isn't as great as I wish it would be, and I also think that they just introduced too many villainous characters or morally gray characters like Bill Foster, Ghost, Walton Goggins' character. I guess it's only three, but it's like three, antagonists, three obstacles in the way, and they don't really flesh them out as much as they like to. Walton Goggins doesn't get fleshed out whatsoever. He's just evil and wants money. Ghost gets fleshed out the most. She's trying to survive and she's willing to take drastic measures. I would have enjoyed some more moments with Ghost. And then Bill Foster, he's a hero Goliath in the comic books. Really cool. Actually, I enjoy Goliath a lot. Very similar to Giant Man. And they mention it in this movie, but they kind of just ignore him for most of the movie. Laurence Fishburne is heavily underutilized. They really don't use him all that much whatsoever. This movie kind of just feels like it's kind of bouncing around all over the place, and I enjoy where it goes. I enjoy, Agent Jimmy Woo. I think he's a fun addition, but overall, I don't think it is as strong story-wise or comedically or emotionally as the first Ant-Man. I think the reunion scenes with Janet are well done. As much as I enjoy the concept for, Janet taking over Scott's body in the end of the second act and showing Hank Hope where to go, I don't think it just comes off as, the main problem of the MCU is I'm not sure if I'm supposed to laugh or, feel emotion. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be attached to it and be like, oh wow, that's very meaningful, that's so, sad, but it's played off as comedy. But then you look at it as it's, the first time that Hank is seeing his wife in 30 years, the first time Hope has seen her mom since she was a little kid, and it just comes off weird. It comes off awkward. And again, that's something that the first Ant-Man movie had very, very... And again, something that the first Ant-Man movie dealt with. It's not perfect. It has its fair share of issues tonally. Honestly, that tone is just kind of with the mix and the negative. I think the humor is mixed. It's not as funny as the first film. And again, undercuts a lot of the emotional moments for jokes. And then the negative is just the tone. It's worse than the first Ant-Man movie when it comes to tone. I don't think it balances it as much as it would like to. But I still think it's a fun time. Again, I don't dislike this movie. I don't think I dislike any Marvel movie, if I'm being honest, except maybe Thor: Love and Thunder. Even then, I can find most of the good in almost any movie, regardless of whether or not it's a Marvel project or not. Again, I like this movie. I think it's a fun time. I definitely prefer the first Ant-Man, though, but I don't think Ant-Man and the Wasp is anything bad. I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be. A lot of people make it out to be like the most unfunny and like a worst movie they've ever seen when it comes to Twitter and YouTube. I don't think it's that drastic. It's not that dramatic. It's just a movie. But I think that it does a good job of advancing Hank, Hope, and Scott's characters, particularly Hank and Hope. The ending conflict is not very interesting. It's more interesting when they're running around San Francisco. The very end feels like a very big cop-out when it comes to Janet and Ghost. Makes you think they're going to have to pick one to save, and they just don't. It's all works out in the end. But those are kind of the Ant-Man movies. They're just more, lighthearted. It would have surprised me if they had to pick one to save. And, when they did the cop-out ending, I wasn't really surprised. But overall, guys, I think Ant-Man and the Wasp it's a good time. It's probably like a 6.5 out of 10. I'd give almost every Marvel movie a positive score. Pretty much everything I watch is like a positive score. It takes a lot for me to dislike or even hate something. And I know that I've made a few negative videos on my channel when it comes to movies, especially like the top 5 worst. But, I mean, honestly, those are like rarities. I've seen thousands of movies, and it comes down to like maybe 20 that I dislike, maybe 30. Pretty good ratio for like to dislike, if I'm being honest. I'm just a very positive critic. But anyways, I enjoy this movie. If you've seen it, what did you think about it? Are you excited for Quantumania? Let me know down in the comments below. Do you have any suggestions for what I should watch next? Probably do more Marvel movies, maybe a few more shorts of things that I watch and don't feel like making a whole video about. But be tuned for more. Quantumania review will drop tomorrow. If you like that, feel free to subscribe, and don't forget to like the video. As always, I'm Carter. Have a great rest of your day.